It's trash day, I'm putting you out, it's trash day. Putting you out, it's trash day. Putting you out of my mind. It's trash day, I'm putting you out, it's trash day. I'm putting you out, trash day, I'm putting you out of my mind. Now I'm gonna clean up, now I'm gonna clean up, now I'm gonna clean up the house. I'm taking all your garbage, taking all your garbage, taking all your garbage.
It starts with some beer, so you shouldn't have fear. Two garbage guys with facts, but they both still have tact. It's that time at last for the best damn podcast. It's Can Crusher Day!
And welcome back to Can Crusher Spotlight. It's a big week in professional wrestling, so we decided we're going to jump on the bandwagon and bring you a second Can Crusher Spotlight. Wednesday, we had Gia Scott from MCW, the youngest MCW champion ever and the two-time MCW Women's Champion. But today, we have OVW. That's right, Ohio Valley Wrestling. We have, I don't know how to put this. He is the East Side Villain. He is the leader in the minds behind the legacy of brutality. His name is Josh Ashcraft. We've had several conversations when I was down in Louisville, and they started well. They started good, but then they ended up inside out, upside down, and me getting Jay Bradley in my face or Cash Flow ready to chop me, and I just don't know where this interview is going to go. I really don't. But nonetheless, he's called me a couple times, sent me a few texts, kind of made it that he needed to be on this show. He powered his way using some of that money from Cash Flow. So, nonetheless, coming up next is the interview that I had with Josh Ashcraft from OVW. Right after we hear a word from our sponsor, from Collar and Elbow, and Mr. Al Snow will be coming up. Guys, if you order from Collar and Elbow, type in Can Crushers, capital C, A-N, capital C, R-U-S-H-E-R-S. Can Crushers. And you'll get 10% off of all the great merchandise that is at Collar and Elbow. And it could be even some of their ones that are on sale or being on the discontinued list. It doesn't matter. If it's cheap, it'll be cheaper when you use the promo code Can Crushers. And it also does help us out as it kicks back to us a little bit to improve this podcast, to buy more beers, more or less is what we're going to use it for, so we can, on our weekly shows, talk about beers and everything. But coming up next, right after Al Snow, is the interview I had with the East Side Villain, Josh Ashcraft.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke the Dumpster Droese, and you are listening to the Can Crushers podcast.
And welcome back to Can Crushers. I am elated to have this guy. A lot of people hate him. He's dastardly. He just does things the wrong way in OVW, but I love that. He is the leader of the legacy of brutality, Josh Ashcraft. Josh, welcome to Can Crushers.
How you doing there, brother?
I'm doing well. I hope that was a good enough entrance for you because you're more than just a leader.
Yeah, I'll take it. You know, you're right. I am more than just the leader of the Legacy of Brutality. I mean, I'm the mastermind. I am the East End villain. I mean, I'm the man from the mean streets of Linden. Come on, you can say so many things about me and about my men. You went with the generic. I was letting it go, but don't poke the bear, son. Bad things happen.
Well, that's what I'm here to do, to poke the bear. And it's about damn time that you make time for the Can Crushers to get on here. I've had Jay Bradley. I've had Cash Flow. I've had Big Zoe. You've kind of been ducking me a little bit.
Well, you know, as much as I enjoy the limelight, I'm also a busy man. You know, movie premieres I'm going to, concert festivals and VIP that I'm attending. You know, things like that preempt, interviews with the likes of you. But here I am, and you have me.
I do. So let's rewind back to the beginning, because that's what we like to do on the Spotlight. How did you get interested in this business as a child? Like, who said, Josh, watch this?
Believe it or not, I grew up across the street from my great-grandmother. And something that was big that she was, into back in the 60s and 70s was wrestling. And that translated over to my uncle, my now late Uncle David, who became a fan of wrestling. And living across the street from my great-grandmother, my uncle had gone to, this is probably early 90s, my uncle had gone to a WWF house show and purchased a Hulk Hogan t-shirt and do-rag for her. Now, when I tell you that I'm probably 6 or 7 years old playing in my front yard and I look up and see my great-grandmother coming across the street dressed like Hulk Hogan, you know, things kind of make you go, what's that all about? And even at a young age, you know, the pageantry and stuff like that kind of captivates you. So to see someone so familiar to me look so strange kind of sparked my interest, so to speak.
Please give me an age on that, because no disrespect, Josh, but I'm picturing, 85 or so walking out of the house ripping the shirt off like the Hulkster did.
Oh, yeah, no, she was, at that point, probably in her late 60s to early 70s. I was young. And she's got the do-rag on and the T-shirt that had the ripped-off sleeves and the slashed-up back that said Hulkster, and just here she comes shuffling across, just laughing. It's a fun memory to have,
It is, and I'll tell you, that is the best introduction I've heard to wrestling on our podcast in forever. That is amazing.
And it's a completely true story, but my real, love and interest for wrestling didn't come until years later, when the Attitude Era, as everyone about my age that got into the business and loves the business, kind of got hooked. So,
and you were...
Yeah, it was quite a jump.
Yeah, quite a jump. But you were instantly linked to the bad guys, the heels, as we say in professional wrestling, right off the get. I just imagine you...
Yeah, I'd say you're completely right on that one, yeah.
Who are some of the ones that you liked?
Everybody knew of, even if you weren't a diehard fan and completely in love with the business yet, you knew who Hulk Hogan was and all those kinds of guys. So I was always a Roddy Piper fan. Coming into their own, guys like, Steve Austin, when he started to do, the whole anti-hero type thing, and DX and that whole era. So, Shawn Michaels was a big influence, but the more I watched and the more I loved, ECW was something I was a big fan of. I was a fan of the Sandman, Tommy Dreamer, Raven, guys like that. You know, the Flock, Raven's Nest, those whole type factions. I started to get into more of the old school villain, you know, type. I was a fan of that, so to speak.
So old school, like Iron Sheik type of villain, like
Stan Hansen.
Oh, yes, even better.
Stan Hansen, Bruiser Brody. You know, all those old guys from World Class. You had, oh God, I'm blanking out right now completely.
You had the Freebirds. You had Chris Adams was always bad. Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Adams, Michael Hayes, Michael P.S. Hayes and the Freebirds. I mean, those are the kinds of heels that really drew my attention, because anybody can be over the top and sleazy and a scumbag or dark and broody, but to go out and do something like what Michael Hayes did at that time, I mean, especially in somewhere like, you know, the South, the Southern U.S., when Michael Hayes is doing the Pretty Sexy run, I mean, come on, man.
It was hot.
Like, that was instant. Yeah, it's white hot heat. And the man can talk. That was something that always drew my attention as well, is someone that can speak and hold my attention without ever actually having to do anything.
Right. His promos were, here it is, this is why, and why you need to be there. But he would extend that for 2 minutes, and you were like, oh my God, just throwing adjectives in there. You're like, this is the greatest man in the world.
Right. And, you know, you talk about some of the greatest promos in the business, Jake Roberts.
Yep.
Jake Roberts' promos were so wonderful and so unique because he didn't have to yell. He didn't have to scream. He could talk quietly and talk slowly. And even if you're in an arena full of people, you'll have someone sitting next to you going, quiet, quiet. I'm trying to hear what he's saying. You've got them hooked. That's literal edge of their seat. They're trying to get closer because now all of that attention's on you. You can run and scream and yell and, all right, I've seen that 12 times already.
Yeah,
that one guy, I really, really had to pay attention to him, and man, he's got an agenda. He's got a plan. He's got whatever.
You brought up Roddy Piper. I had I don't know what I want to say, the privilege of meeting him just weeks before his death. And he made everybody feel like he was part of their family. Did you ever have the chance to meet Roddy?
God, no, unfortunately I didn't. But what you just said, one of the people in the business that I love dearly, and he's one of those you love him or hate him kind of guys, and he'll even say that, but Jason Saint, the man who helped me get my foot in the door in the business, he has told me that same exact thing about all of the times that he spent around Roddy Piper, that Roddy made everyone feel like they were family, that they were home. You know, it was, oh, hey, I haven't seen you in years type feeling.
Yeah, he was amazing.
Yeah.
So what made you get into what was the deciding factor? I mean, we just talked about everything that I imagine you're going to say, well, this, everything we just talked about. But what was the deciding factor to say, I love this business so much, I need to be in it?
Man, I am the poster child for adult ADD, so you'll have to work with me here. But, yeah, I mean, it's the truth, man. It is what it is. I was flipping channels one night, and I came across OVW. And obviously, you know, I'd been watching wrestling. Kids, this was before the internet was a huge thing and you could find out anything.
What?
Sometimes it happened to pop up, right? I know. Weird. But I'm flipping channels and I come across I come across OVW, and I'm like, well, what is this? It's wrestling, but I don't know where this is from. I've never seen this before. And this is right around the time where I'd started to read like PWI. And I'm picking up that there are these little, independent companies across the United States. I'm like, well, I didn't know that was a thing. I thought it was just the big stuff that you saw on TV.
Agreed.
Right. So I'm like, oh my God, this is what they're talking about. Well, this is OVW. This is Ohio Valley Wrestling. This is what, I was reading about in that magazine that my buddy let me borrow in class 2 or 3 weeks ago. This is in Jeffersonville. Wait a minute. This is just on the other side of the river. And I started to try to seek out more information, try to find out whatever I could with AOL dial-up at that time.
Quick then. It was real quick then.
Well, yeah, no, it was quick. You would, start to sign in and then go make dinner, and by the time you're done, you're online. But God forbid somebody needs to use the phone or they call you. But now I'm just dating myself. I start seeing more and more about OVW in these magazines, and I'm watching the TV show, and we're getting the developmental deals. I get to go to a show. I finally get to go to my first OVW show. And I go over to the Gardens, and it was just this huge spectacle that I didn't even know could be right down, 15 minutes away from the suburbs from where I live. I can be seeing this every week live. I could actually, some of these guys, I might be able to be a part of this in some way, shape, or form. And, like everybody, when you're a kid, you want to be a wrestler. Well, I'm not 6'5", jacked and tan, so it didn't work out for me. I'm not super athletic. It didn't work out for me. What can I do? Hey, that guy up there talking, the thing that I've always liked, the thing that I can do, because everybody can talk, but some people have a way of pulling your attention, and that guy's doing that, and I do that. I bet you I could do that too. And from there, it was everyone's always said that I should either be a preacher or an auctioneer because I never shut up.
Truth.
But I thought, I love wrestling. I love watching on TV. I love being here live, seeing this. I want to be a manager. It'd be great to be a wrestler, but I want to be a manager. And I started trying to watch as much as I could, obviously. I couldn't get enough wrestling. I still had VHS tapes. I'm not even kidding. I'm looking at my bookshelf with just stacks of VHS tapes labeled like tag matches and, random stuff. But I started trying to focus on guys like Jimmy Hart and Jim Cornette and Bobby Heenan, Paul Heyman, all those guys, and really tried to study what made them different, what made them stand out. Okay, this guy does this really well, and I like that. Maybe I can try this. And I would cut promos on my friends. I would cut promos in class. I would just sit in my room and cut promos, trying to find and perfect, my cadence and what I wanted out of things. And from like age 13 or 14 on, man, this is all I ever wanted to do. I know that was a super roundabout way to get there, but I warned you, ADD warning. We're going all kinds of places on this trip today, kids. Buckle up.
That's fine, because we're going to jump questions and everything. You brought up every manager I have listed. I wrote down some other ones like Baby Doll and Slick and Lou Albano.
Left out Gary Hart.
Right.
Left out Gary Hart. Who else did I leave out? Paul Ellering.
Freddie Blassie.
On and on, man. Freddie Blassie. Oh, God. Classy Freddie Blassie. Man, if you haven't read his book, that is one hell of a read.
It is. I actually have it. It's on my bookshelf right now. It's one of my favorite ones that they put out. It really is.
That's great, man. He doesn't pull any punches either.
No, he doesn't. You can find it probably on Amazon if you want to go get it, or eBay might have it or anything. Buy the Freddie Classy book. A little bit of a promo there.
Yeah.
So, with all the managers that we've listed and yourself, and you see some like Heyman are back into the mix of things and everything, don't you think managers, and I know the answer to this, it's a rhetorical question, but I want more thoughts. Don't you think managers just add that extra punch? I mean, you have Jay Bradley and Big Zoe and Cash Flow and the Hood Ninja. And sorry, they can all talk, so they don't need you to talk. But when you talk for them, it just adds another bit of that step in a storyline. Managers are needed more now, I think, in wrestling than they did back in the 80s and 90s when we loved it so much, right?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. You look at the legacy of brutality, you look at my guys. They don't need me to stand there and hold a microphone and speak for them. Each one of them can do that job extremely well. But together as a group, it's one mind. And it's like being able to channel all of the thoughts and feelings that we have through one mouth, and that's mine. So managers add that little extra bit of, oh, okay, like that a little bit more inflection. I can tell a little bit better story with the words that I'm going to use, but then they're going to back it up with the things that they do to you.
Exactly.
Makes sense?
Perfect sense. It described the manager to a T.
I mean, they're the steak, we're the sizzle, baby.
Right.
The asses in the seats, and they keep the asses in the seats.
You just blew my mind now. So I'm going to ask who Josh Ashcraft is, all right? We've just named a host of managers, but coming into this interview, you know, I put two together, and this is who I think you are. Tell me if you've built off of this, and I know you added more, but I see you as Paul Heyman and Jim Cornette. Those are the two that when I think of Josh Ashcraft, that's who I say, hey, these two are the ones that I'm not saying copying, but that you've pulled something from, right?
Yes. I mean, obviously, hands down, one of my best friends in the world. As I mentioned, you know, hey, my buddy let me borrow a magazine in class, this, that, and the other is my best friend, John. He always told me that given a chance, I could be Paul Heyman. I said, man, I just want to be me. But Jim Cornette definitely as well. You know, Jim was my mentor and did wonderful things to help me out, and I will always be gracious and thankful for all the help that I got. But I wanted to put my own spin on everything and be able to look at things from a new school and old school standpoint. So I can go out there in a suit and tie, but man, that ain't me.
Right.
I'm not going to go out there and just look like trash that stumbled in off the street, but you know what? I can make punk casual look good. Jeans with a chain and a nice suit jacket? Hell yeah. You want to know who Josh Ashcraft is? I'll tell you who he is. He's that dude at the end of the bar that's going to hit on every single girl that comes by. He's going to have a smart comment for everything that anybody's going to say, but no one's going to try to do anything because he's running around with the biggest, baddest guys in the bar, too.
Yeah, true.
I'm that little yappy dog in front of the Rottweilers and the Pit Bulls.
You say that you're yappy, but you're not. You have good transition, and we'll get back to something else, but you keep doing my transitions for me, so we'll run with them. I
am a professional, man. What you want from me?
You have actually been in the ring a few times as well.
Yeah.
Looking at your win,
yes, I have.
Looking at your win-loss record, a little bit under 500.
Yeah, it's impressive for what it is.
Right.
All right. Take pride in that.
A little under 500, not too bad, but just it's good. One I want to bring up is you wrestled legends. You really did. You were in the ring with Danny Davis, Jim Cornette, and Trailer Park Trash. How the hell was that?
Nerve-wracking to say the least. 2 months prior, myself and my War Machine, Eric Locker and Big John, had faced off against Danny Davis, Trailer Park Trash, and Jeff Jarrett in a match that I lost for my team. But hey, you know what? Jeff Jarrett gives you the stroke, and you just kind of lay there and look at the lights, man. 2 months later, here I am facing off against Danny and Trash again, but there's Jim Cornette. And everything that you think you may have figured out about anything is completely gone out the window and secondary at that point when you're in there in the ring with those three guys, you know?
Right? They're legends.
You've got, yeah. And it was a surreal experience and something that I'll never forget. So that was really, really fun. That was a lesson too in a lot of timing and awareness and psychology and just being in the moment. You know, forget A, B, C, D, and E. Just do it and enjoy it and listen and react. That's all you really have to do.
Yeah, note fans, Josh's team picked up the win in that match.
I mean, I wasn't going to say it, you did, but yeah, I pinned Jim and won that match for my guys. So, hey, that's a thing I did.
And
stay humble, stay hungry, kids.
And let's talk about Jim. You've brought up that he's your mentor. Like, how much guidance has Jim Cornette given you? Now, stop before you answer that. Jim Cornette, to me, is one of the most iconic people in wrestling. I'm on that same page with you. I've met him a couple times, but not like you know him. I think his podcast is amazing. I think what he's done for wrestling across the board still continues to blow shit out of the water. So I can't give him enough praise. He's an amazing human being, and then what he does for wrestling is unbelievable. Now you can talk.
I mean, you pretty much summed up every bit of it. I got to spend about four years, give or take, learning a lot from Jim and his wife Stacy, who was also a manager in OVW, and they really helped teach me a lot about psychology and everything. And I will always be very, very grateful and thankful to them for all of the knowledge that they imparted upon me. And it really helped me kind of form my sense of who I am and who I wanted to be in the business, as far as the direction that I wanted my character to go, or, you know, the no pun intended legacy that I wanted to cement for myself. And it helped me grow also as a person. I can't say enough good things about that time that I spent. It really was. It was a hell of an education, man.
So you, shifting gears, as we'll get back to a couple more matches here in a minute, but shifting gears, you've worked with Jim in OVW, you've worked with Danny in OVW, and now Al Snow has taken OVW by the reins and has just exploded the world with it. Talk about some of the differences, but how everything kind of loops back around and transcends to where Al has it now.
Man, it's just complete night and day from when I started, and the things that Al is doing along with, Chad and the rest of the guys over there at Gladiator Sports, it's mind-blowing each week to go in. Like today, as we're recording this, ladies and gentlemen, on a Wednesday, a notable Wednesday in wrestling history, as today, October 2nd, as we record this. I don't care when you release it or if you were going to hold off. This is important to me, okay?
No.
October 2nd of 2019, as we record this, today is the night that AEW and NXT go head-to-head, and the second Wrestling World War begins.
You're so true.
Right? So it's shocking to me as we sit here and record this on a Wednesday that I don't have a TV taping to go to. Because last night, on Tuesday, OVW was live.
Was what?
It's live, brother.
Oh, that's right.
On Tuesday night, OVW can be caught live at 8 p.m. on WBNA Channel 21 in the Louisville market. And if you can't get OVW on WBNA in your market, always check out ovwrestling.com, all of OVW's social media, and the OVW Wrestling Network.
For only $4.99 a month.
Yeah, you kind of cut me off on that one there, but it's okay. I'll give it to you. I've been stealing your transitions all day. But yeah, man, OVW is exploding right now, and we have most recently received accreditation. We are now the first licensed professional wrestling trade school in the world. Classes started, the intermediate class started this past week. We have students that are moving into housing. I mean, things are exploding right now for OVW. We have some huge events coming up, some huge events planned, and just the amount of production and the hands-on role that Al takes in our product is amazing.
Yeah.
He takes the time to sit down and actually explain to you, what you could have done better, what you did amazingly well, what you should never do again, and everything in between. And he explains it to you in a way that by the end of the conversation, you walk out of that room going, I really have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm learning every single day. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
So it's not a, air quotes, job or a career. It is life.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, all right? OVW to me is not just a job or a place or a thing. It's a family. It's something that since I was, a kid, I wanted to be a part of. And I went to the weekly shows in Indiana and here in Kentucky. Just had this conversation last night. I was there for the first show at that building at the Davis Arena on Old Shep. I was there for the debut episode, and here I am sitting backstage watching them play a promo video showing the old OVW entrance with the Louisville Gardens and Billy Idol playing, and to now, and here I am coming out on a stage filled with smoke at 4th Street Live with an entrance video. Like, what the hell am I doing here? OVW, it's not a job. It legitimately is my family. There's nothing I wouldn't do for them, and it's very important to me, to say the least.
Yeah, that I can't step on that. I can't say anything about it because you're right on, brother. You really are. Being down there a few times in Louisville, seeing everything, not getting behind the curtain, but, or opening the curtain up is what I actually meant. Everybody is a family, guys. He speaks no lies right now. As if you have a janitor, he's just as important in Davis Arena as the World Heavyweight Champion, have it be anybody, Justin Smooth, anybody that ever was, Al takes pride in every nook and cranny of OVW.
Yeah, he really does, and it's something that he's, instilling in everyone coming through, as well as, this is our home. We take care of our home, and we're going to entertain guests, and you take pride in the place, and there's a common bond between, everyone as we all, get together to help out to get the place straightened up or ready or this, that, and the other. It truly is a family environment.
All right,
it's fun, man. It's a lot of fun to be a part of.
It really is, folks. Speaking of the couple times I went down, I completely agree. They've opened it up for me, and it's amazing. But let's shift gears. Before you brought back the Legacy of Brutality, you were also part of the broadcast team. And that's something near and dear to my heart. I love it as I'm the nerd that likes telling the stories and this, that, and the other. How was it working with the Man Beast and Gilbert Corsi?
Oh, this will be fun. I absolutely love working with Dr. Man Beast Ted McNaylor. He is one of the first friends that I made in OVW, and he is honestly one of the funniest and most genuine people I've ever met in my life. Working with him was a blast because I would sometimes just get so caught up in the moment that I would trail off halfway through my thought watching the action on what's going on, and he's right there to immediately pick it up and finish exactly what I was thinking. So it was so easy to work with him because our brains work very, very similarly. Gilbert is... I used to joke that my favorite thing on Wednesdays was how quickly can I piss off Gilbert at the desk. Because I like to prod and poke Gilbert because it's fun for me to watch him get, a little bit flustered.
And it seems to be easily done, right?
Well, when it's me, because he and I have this fun oil and water chemistry that, we don't mix, but we sometimes do, even though oil and water don't. But you see what I'm saying. There's a point to be made here, and the point is, working with Gilbert Corsi at that desk, though, was an absolute pleasure. That man taught me a lot about timing and when to lay out. There's, a time to tell a story and times not to. And he brought a different side of it that I never really knew. He brought that TV journalist, aspect of it. And all I've ever known was the Joey Styles, JR, Mike Tenay approach to things, the Lance Russell, approach. And, let's analyze and tell a story here about why working that shoulder, why he's grinding it down into the mat so that later on that arm bar can be applied even more viciously. It's beautiful, but doesn't always translate in today's fast-paced environment. I got to learn a lot from him in that aspect. So working at the desk, I think, helped give me a better understanding of what to do and when to do it and how to kind of give those moments to in air to breathe, so to speak. You don't always have to be in motion. It's television, not radio, as Al has told me many times. But working at the desk, man, was a lot of fun.
That's a great point. Apparently this is just going to be Stroke Al Snow's ego show, not an interview.
No. Don't get me wrong. I don't stroke egos. I don't need to stroke egos. The thing about it is, I will give credit where credit's due, even when I don't necessarily like an individual. King's Ransom. They just managed to take a step forward in the Nightmare Cup tournament at the expense of my Legacy of Brutality. I don't have a lot of good things to say about King's Ransom, but I will say that they are wonderful athletes. They do some amazing things in there. But they're still in my crosshairs. as I stroke no one's ego, I just call them like I sees them. All right? Don't get it twisted, son. As the Damager would say. There's a little OVW throwback there for you.
Now that you're off your soapbox, I was saying it on my end, not even yours. I was going to stroke his ego one more time. But it's a moot point now. No, it's a moot point now. We're done. We're done with that. All right, let's talk about,
God, I'm good at what I do, and that's piss people off.
Right, you really did, because I was going to say something really nice and then throw Chad Miller under the bus. But
No, please, sir. By all means.
No, I want to move on. I want to move on to the return of the Legacy of Brutality. It's been a few months, and now you guys are tag team champions. And I was going to talk about the Nightmare Cup as well, that you guys just lost. But you covered all that. But let's talk about the Legacy of Brutality. Break down each person in the Legacy of Brutality and what they bring, one by one to the whole group. And let's start with the man, Jay Bradley.
I mean, Jay Bradley, just look at him. Jay Bradley is a world-traveled competitor. He has such a knowledge of this business as well, and he's just a bruiser. He's a hand cannon, let's be honest. You point Jay at what you want broken, and he breaks it. That's what he brings to the Legacy of Brutality. Next.
Hand cannon. That's all I'll ever think of again. Cash Flow.
Oh, the Wizard of Wall Street? Cash Flow, the personal ATM? No. Cash brings such a rich wealth of knowledge and tag team experience that we can reach in and pluck from when we need to pull something out. When we have a situation that we don't exactly know what to do, Cash always has an answer. Cash Flow always has an out. And let's be honest, he helps finance us with some real fun, expensive times at the bar, as noted in some of the videos that you'll catch on OVW social media every now and then.
Yeah.
Although I don't know how Brian Kinnison keeps popping up randomly.
Yeah, why do you invite him? Why?
I don't. He just kind of shows up. He's like that one kid that would always show up with like the chocolate smeared like down the edge of the mouth a little bit, like, hey guys, can I play too? And you're like, yeah, sure. But then you put him in the trash can, and then you turn the trash can upside down so he can't get out, and you like put rocks on it, and then you go do whatever it was you were going to do anyways. And that's kind of what happens in those situations.
And Kennison,
nice guy, though.
And Kennison could not get himself out of a trash can if he tried.
I mean, things.
All right. Next, Isaiah the Hood Ninja.
What can I say about Isaiah that I haven't said before? The man is my personal protector. He is my personal ninja. No matter what happens, Isaiah's main job is my protection. And he takes that job extremely seriously, and I mean that in every way, shape, and form. Pi has had my back since the day that I met him, and there's no one that I would rather have watching my back.
Not even somebody like the newest member of the Legacy of Brutality, Big Zoe, who is Big Zoe.
The newest member? Don't you mean one of the original members of the Legacy of Brutality? This isn't our first foray. Oh, no.
Returning member, then. I'll put it that way.
OVW Southern Tag Team Champions. I'm sorry. What?
I said the newest since this incarnation. I'll put it that way.
Zoe. Why did Zoe come back home? That's what you want to know. You know, that's been the big question. Let's get down to the bare bones of this. The whole reason why you asked the question, what does everyone bring, is because you were waiting to get to Zoe, because you wanted to know, just like everyone else does, why Zoe came home. And fine. Here's the scoop. He said it on TV. Let me state it again. We're family. The legacy of brutality is family. It's not just something that you see on TV with a bunch of guys that go out there and beat people up and have a lot of fun doing it. The LOB, we care about each other, and we care about how each other's doing and what we can do to help each other move forward in life, in the universe. And Zoe realized that being with his family, being with the ones that are there to take care of him, will help get him way further than a bunch of strangers in a crowd. Quite simply, Zoe brings to the legacy of brutality an unstoppable freight train-like ability to demolish anything in sight when tasked to.
Well said. Well said. I couldn't
Thank you.
I couldn't disagree with that anymore, because he is a freaking freight train on the run.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a lot of fun when you're on that freight train too.
Oh,
'Cause when it's coming towards you, trust me, I've been on the end of it coming towards me more than once, and my ribs have never quite felt right since. It's a lot better to have us as your friends than to have us as your enemies. Let me just put it to you that way.
And speaking of enemies, you brought up King's Ransom. You gave us the thoughts on them as well. But how about some other teams that might, shock the legacy of brutality? You have Dimes and Category 5. I mean, Chase and Nigel. There's just teams popping up now in OVW, and I understand, because I'm going to get thrown under the bus. You guys are champs. You guys are brutal. You're brutality, this, that, and the other. But you have to kind of look behind you every once in a while just to see who's around. Not that you're scared, but who's around. So who's around, you guys?
Oh, there's a lot of teams around us. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say here. You say that we have to watch our back, but when you count the numbers up, if I stand in the middle, I've got 4 guys around me, and that's somebody looking in every direction. The LOB's constantly watching for threats from all sides. Could it be Dimes? I mean, he's a former OVW heavyweight champion in Category 5, Corey Storm. I mean, this kid has nothing but the moon and stars ahead of him in his future. Yeah, they're a threat. Chase and Nigel, they're a little bit psychotic, and I like that. I like that quite a bit about them. It reminds me of me. But they also have money, and I like money too. But money means they could possibly pay someone off to jump the legacy brutality prior to a match. Now that I've put that out there into the universe, boys, remember, I'm watching for every threat. You've got guys like Lutz and Cove. Everybody wants to laugh about Lutz and Cove. Those two are dangerous. Did you not see what happened last year in the Nightmare Cup?
Right?
Come on. Any and every team that's willing to come and step to the legacy of brutality can. But remember, it's a numbers game, and it's a game that we're winning.
You guys are winning. You guys are winning the numbers game. I agree. And is there ever expansion in their legacy of brutality? I know you are always out there. You have an eye on somebody here or there. Are you happy with 4? Because, let's say, the 4 horsemen are a great number. Or do you want to make it like the NWO when there's 1 million of you? Is there expansion? Possibly.
Here's the thing. It's like I said before. The legacy of brutality is a family. Let me ask you, do you do Christmas or Thanksgiving with your loved ones?
I do.
Would you just randomly let people show up, sit down, and eat dinner with you?
That's actually a trick.
Some random person on the street.
No.
No, you wouldn't, would you? So why would the legacy of brutality bring a stranger into our midst? Now, that's not to say that there aren't certain individuals that the Legacy of Brutality is quite fond of. And they're quite fond of the Legacy of Brutality, and we have a nice, cordial relationship with the Legacy of Brutality. We have plenty of friends. Some of them could be quite close to being family. You never know. That's all I'm going to say about that, because I want to keep you guessing. But I will leave you with this thought. You know, there is one belt, one championship in OVW that I have not managed someone to. And once you figure that out, you may see where I've been scouting, but you'll never know from where or who.
I have a little bit of an idea. Okay.
You know, again, I like to leave mysteries, man. I like to play detective. I like to leave little Easter eggs and hints. Ask Isaiah any time about Easter eggs, and he will bring up the fact that I've got 1,000,001 hidden around everywhere and in everything, because it's fun for me.
So you're kind of a dick.
I like to let people... Oh, no, I'm not kind of a dick. I am a dick. I really am. And it's so much fun because I have all the answers and you don't. Continuing on.
Okay, so we're going to revert back to some wrestling, as I have one more match I want to talk about, which you didn't have an answer for, as you lost...
No, wait a second. Hang on. Before you get there, I already know where you're going with this. And you're right. I did pin Amon in Elizabethtown once, but that was when he was Reverend Stu. I don't know what he is now. But you can go ahead and give me the props on it that you were going to give me. I know that's where you're going.
Not at all. You lost to Women of Wrestling's and OVW's Jessie Bell.
Yeah, that happened. That did. Yes, okay, you're right. No, I didn't have an answer. I may have shoved my foot in my mouth a little bit. When don't I? But Jessie Bell did beat me in the main event of OVW TV. But to be fair, she did kick me in the nuts twice. To be fair, she did. All right, so let's just put that on the table.
All right.
Yeah, she beat the crap out of me in that match. Who am I kidding here? I mean, we're not joking. Jessie Bell is formidable in every way, shape, or form. If you offered me $1 million to have a match with her again, I mean, yeah, I'd take it. It's $1 million, but she'd still kick the hell out of me. But I'd have $1 million. So, I mean, she'd beat my ass, but I'd be a millionaire. So, I mean, like, the payoff's kind of like, all right, whatever.
Right?
No, man, Jessie Bell's a tough gal and someone that I've known for the entire time that I've been in the business. And being in the ring with her was a lot of fun. It hurt quite a bit because she beat me up so bad. But it was something different, to say the least, and something that OVW hadn't seen in quite some time. And it was fun being having another little Easter egg part of OVW history there, you know?
With that same thought, we said that you wrestled a few matches, and you've been trained or, whatever by Jim Cornette.
So,
did you actually have wrestling training? Did Rip Rogers, Danny Davis, any of those guys actually throw you around? Do you have to do that before you become a manager?
So, Trailer Park Trash is the man that you brought up in two of those legendary, quote-unquote, that you said, matches that I was a part of with some legendary individuals. Trailer Park Trash was OVW's first heavyweight champion, and when people ask me who actually trained me in the ring, I always say that I learned from Trailer Park Trash, Randy Torres, and Mike Mondo. They all took time and spent time with me helping train me, helping show me how to do the few things that I am able to do. Those guys were instrumental in any of the in-ring stuff that I could do, and if I got my tubby ass back into the gym more often, which I am, might be able to do again. Trailer Park Trash, Frank Miller, Randy Torres and Mike Mondo, it would answer your question. I learned from those three gentlemen, and I am very proud and glad to carry their names as people that train me, because something that I was taught early on was anything that you do in this business ever, you carry your trainer's name with you. So anything that you do will be looked upon as a reflection on them. So don't do anything that they wouldn't have you do. Now, in some of those instances, Trash would probably laugh at some of the things that I've done. He would laugh heartily and enjoy himself quite a bit. But I'm very proud and thankful for the things that I learned from those individuals. And there's been many, many more as well that have taken time, like Devin Driscoll and Rocco Bellagio, Daniel Leeds, anybody that I've been with for a while or spent time with has always helped me. Chris Silvio was one of them. Chris helped me so much. Getting to sit and listen to Rip and talk to Danny and those types of things all help mold me in some way, shape, or form. And I think that's something that's missing a lot from the business now versus, almost 9 years ago when I started, is that everyone around you's opinion helped you if they were trying to be genuine. Now, what I mean by that is you'll have a lot of people say, oh, man, yeah, no, that was great. That was awesome. That was cool. I appreciate it, but that doesn't help make me any better. It's the ones that are going to constantly be there to say, hey, that was cool, but, or you tried to do this, didn't you? Yes. Okay. Don't do that. Do this instead. I might not have been someone that went to, and I'm speaking, metaphorically. I may not be someone that has been to, Madison Square Garden, headlined it, but maybe I've been working the independent scene for 25 plus years. And the guys that are main eventing it were guys that I gave the same advice to. Why wouldn't you listen to that person? Nowadays, you don't seem to see a lot of that anymore. You get guys that have, some of which are right in the things that they say that have been around for a few years because they've learned the right way. Or when I say learn the right way, and I know I'm going to wind up catching flack for this, it's all ice cream, man. What flavor of ice cream do you like? That's all wrestling is. Just because my opinion on X, Y, and Z is this and yours is that doesn't necessarily mean that either one of us are right or wrong. It means that I like this and this and I don't like that. But I understand that that has a place because it's brought you here now and you want to see that.
This brings up
because you want to see that later on in the show, you're going to sit here and you're going to see the thing that I came to see first. Now maybe you're going to become a fan of that instead. Doesn't mean that you're not going to watch that anymore, but this just opened up a whole bunch of new doors. Well, let me start looking into this guy a little bit more. Oh, hey, he worked with that guy that I like over there who does that. Well, now you've just brought another set of eyes to how many matches, how many wrestlers, how many people. Stop tearing everything down. Wrestling's exploding again. Dude, there's a reason why I said October 2nd is a historic day. I'm going to sit here and chew our own horn again because OVW is changing the world of professional wrestling with what we're trying to do. AEW, NXT, WWE, all these companies, everybody's starting to heat up again. The independent scene is growing. Help each other. Stop hurting each other. Man, if everybody succeeds, we all succeed. Okay, so you don't like the guy that's your heavyweight champion. You can't stand him. You don't want to know anything about what's going to happen with anything for the rest of your life if it involves that man. Okay, so what? Dude, all these people love that guy. They all came to see him. The cool thing about that is you're on in the third match. Maybe it's because you have a shitty attitude. Maybe it's just because that's the way the card fell. Whatever. But all those people that came to see Brother in the main event are going to watch your stuff. So go out there and do the best that you can possibly do. When I say that, I don't mean go out there and have a WrestleMania main event in the third match if that's not what you're supposed to be. Go out there and do your job to the best of your ability and try to make those people want to come back to see you too. Not instead of, but see you too. If we all do well, man, if people come to see all of us, it's all that matters. All right, ran over.
Josh, that was amazing. No, that was perfect. Because I was going to ask you to kind of dive more into that, and you dove in yourself. That are wrestlers listening, and I'm going to throw myself under the bus. Are they listening to me because Mark said person X should do this? Are they actually listening more to us and then not listening to people backstage? This opens up a whole nother topic, and we're going to have to already soon plan another interview for you because now we have to go and do so much more.
Well, man, no, what it is you have a bunch of people that think that they know what's right. And then you have a bunch of people that come into the business and they're starting to learn and grow, but they only know one thing. And they say, well, no, I already know. I'm not sounding like some disgruntled person or whatever. All I'm saying is I'm just calling it like I see it. You have guys that come in and say, well, I don't need to pay attention to you. And it's happened personally to me. Well, why are you giving me a critique on this? Maybe because I already know the critique that you're probably about to get from the guy who's in charge, and I'm either trying to, A, soften the blow a little bit so that you don't go in there all smiley face like you are right now with me and just make it worse, or I'm trying to help you do better because I see that you have the potential for, A, B, or C, but you're screwing yourself because you're making mistakes that I made, or I saw a friend make, or I was told that this person made. So I'm trying to help you avoid that pitfall. Yeah, but who are you? What have you ever done? I don't know, dude. I'm only the guy that's been sitting back here for damn near the last decade trying to soak up as much as he friggin' can. I mean, yeah, I'm a goofball. Yeah, I'm a screw up. I like to have fun. I like to goof off. I like to mess around. But you want to take the time, there are plenty of people around that are more than willing to help. Just pull your head out of your ass. It's something that I wish I would have known. I mean, everybody, hindsight, dude, 2020, that's all I'm about nowadays.
And that's perfect advice. The best thing to sum it all up, if you're just coming into wrestling, tell me if I'm right or wrong, sit back, shut up, listen, and pull your head out of your ass.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Just because you've got a former WWE or TNA or ROH or whoever guy in the locker room doesn't mean that he's any more important than the guy over there that's been everywhere for the last 15 years, that you might not know who he is because he's just some random guy that's traveling the indies. And I'm not saying that everybody is a fountain of knowledge. Let's just be honest here. Use common sense. Kids, it's not a superpower. Your common sense doesn't tingle. You have to learn to develop it for yourself. But look for the ones that are going to sit there quietly and just kind of give you the nod or the shrug and go to, hey, did you see anything? Is there anything I could have done? Did you like anything? You don't have to say, how was my match? Or rush back this, that, and the other, because I know there's a stigma about that. But, hey, I'm going out there trying to do the best thing that I could possibly do. If I go out and think that I did an amazing job and I come back and I really did shit and no one tells me, how do I get any better? How does any of it get any better? And how are you going to be any better for just sitting back and laughing to yourself that, well, that looked like crap, but I'm not going to say anything about it. Let him keep screwing up. Hey, you're wrestling X, Y, and Z next week. And this, that, and the other, and you guys are going to blah, blah, blah. Ah, shoot. Man, I just shot myself in the foot. Great. Okay, hey, you know all that stuff that you've been doing? It doesn't work. Let's do this. Well, what do you mean? No one said anything? Ah, great. Now I'm going to have to try to figure this out for myself. You hurt yourself, man.
Perfect.
Go to people. Talk to them. Follow. This is here. You want an endorsement? You want an ego? Brutal Bob Evans. Follow him on social media. Bob will give you an education about any and everything, including some life lessons. He's one of those positive people that I have ever come across. That man is a jewel. He really is, and his words are very inspirational a lot of times on Facebook, and he is more than willing to help out. Just as long as, he's one of those, if you're willing to do the drives, put in the work, show up, ask how you can be of service. That's the stuff Bob preaches. He's willing to help. That's a good one. There you go. There's a little plug for you.
That's a great.
I'm not trying to like name drop or say, hey, follow this guy or that guy. Credit where credit's due, man. People that have helped me or people that have inspired me. That's all I talk about. Because if it helped me, maybe it'll help somebody else.
Yeah. All right. Well, we know we're coming close to the time, and we're going to schedule number. Yeah. We're going to schedule number 2 before we get off the phone for sure. But a question I always ask, and I changed it around a little bit before I give you props to give you all your social media and stuff. If you had the chance to manage anyone in history, barring your 4 guys right now, you got to throw them out.
Ooh.
Anybody else in history, who would you like to walk down to the ring with, where, and what event?
Oh, God, why would you do that to me? You can't put me on the spot like this. I told you I have ADD.
Yes.
God. Okay, here. How about this? I'm going to do you one better. We're scheduling part 2, right?
Okay, yeah.
All right, so hear me out. You give me the time to craft. I will not only give you the person, place, time, I'll give you the arena, the event like you asked for, the opponent, the match, and why. I will give you all of it. But I will leave you with this. I wish that I would have been born 20 years sooner, give or take. No, actually, I'll 25 years sooner. So that I would have had a chance to at least be getting my feet wet at the end of the 70s, beginning of the 80s, when the business just everywhere caught on fire.
Okay.
I would have loved that time because then you could, and this is another throwback to Bob Evans, man. You can make money. You can make a damn good living, doing the drives on the indie scene, doing all that kind of stuff. At the same time, back then it was just a little bit different than it is nowadays. And, man, hitting towns every single night, just in the car with your guys, it just the insanity. I mean, I'm batshit crazy myself, let's be honest here.
No shit.
But I would have liked to have at least experienced that time. I think I might have been a little bit different person then, and it may have not been to my benefit, but I think it would have been fun.
Yeah.
I would have ended prematurely, that's for damn sure.
I can definitely see you with some of those people. I'm going to bring my prediction first of kind of the same thing, and then you tell me how wrong I'm going to be.
Okay.
All right. First, let's tell everybody where they can follow you on social media so you can blow up OVW and everything else that you've just blown up. So what's your social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Josh Ashcraft. I am the one and only. There's no numbers after it. Anybody else is a fake. On Instagram at Josh Ashcraft 86. And then you can also find me on Facebook. I have a fan page that's the same, facebook.com/Josh Ashcraft 86. And you can buy my merch at tpublic.com/user/ Josh Ashcraft 86. Do you see a theme there?
No.
Smart ass.
I'm a little thick in the head, so no, I don't see a theme at all.
But no, man, yeah, you can follow me on social media. I am. I'm always blasting out either random horror movie stuff. Don't follow me on social media if you are a sensitive person. I warn you now. I don't mean that in a bad way. I like Halloween, and I like, messed up stuff and funny jokes, so I might not be a cup of tea. But
duly noted that this is true. This is true.
Yeah. But then again, at the same time, and you can admit, I also do post some pretty inspirational stuff and retweet and share a lot of stuff. And so there's some cool things in there, too. I like science. I'm a nerd. I like history. All that kind of crap.
Well, there's the fourth wall being dropped, you nerd.
Dude, I don't care. I mean, that's the thing. You'll find me and my guys, and this is a true story. This is a true statement every single week. You want to find the LOB in the back? We're sitting in the LOB locker room playing old NES or SNES games on an emulator that Zoe brought in and hooked up to the TV that I scavenged for us. And we're joking around, cutting up with music playing, and you're more than likely to find us talking about comic books and everything else just as much as you are us beating the crap out of somebody for coming into the LOB locker room. And there's not much of a difference in dynamic between what you see on TV and what you get from us backstage, man.
That I know Jay Bradley more than the other three, and that, again, I've repeated myself, that's such a true statement, because Jay Bradley is one of the biggest children in the world.
Oh, dude, we're all just overgrown kids. We're like 14-year-olds with mostly crappy credit scores. No. We're grown men that are all, stuck in that 14 to 17-year-old age range that we're the Lost Boys, man. We never wanted to grow up.
Touche. All right, Mr. Josh Ashcraft, we're going to let you go. There's a lot of going on. Thanks for joining us on part one of the Can Crusher Spotlight, and we'll set something up.
Rock and roll, man. Sounds good.
So, spoiler, part two is already set up, and we are going to dive into more with Josh Ashcraft as so many more topics opened up as we continue to talk about wrestling. We are, Josh put it right, we are the Lost Boys. We are guys that just love sitting, talking about wrestling. Throw a beer into the mix on my end, and I don't shut up. As you can tell, I love this, what we are doing for you guys, to know some of the stars behind the curtain or even in front of the curtain, however you want to put it. We continue to grow and we continue to love what we're doing, spotlighting wrestlers from all over, OVW, MCW, IWC, former stars like Duke the Dumpster that you heard during our promo. We continue to love that. But how about this interview with Josh? We turned up being boys. We have a lot in common that we love to talk about. And the way that he talked about the managers, and let's just stop there for a minute. Bobby Heenan, Lou Albano, Jimmy Hart, and the continuing the list that we said. These are the people I grew up with, and Josh is making that presence with all the kids in Louisville and just saying, hey, this is what else you can do. If you are not the guy that can fly around the ring or has the strength of, for girls, Megan Bain or so on and so forth, you can come in and be a mouthpiece. You can be dastardly. You can continue to be in this sport that you love. I transitioned to behind the mic because that's what I love, to continue to tell the stories and get the promos and everything out there. This wrestling business is wonderful, and this is the time to jump on because, as we said, AEW just started Wednesday night. You have that battle on Wednesdays, but there's so much more that we're going to dive into with Josh here in the near future, and I can't wait to bring you part two. As, like I said, the date's scheduled. I'm just not going to tell you when. You're just going to wait and see when part two pops up. Guys, if you have anybody out there that you'd like to hear from and you don't want to reach out to them to ask them questions, send them our way. Do it at cancrushers69@gmail.com. We'll reach out. We'll try to schedule something with anybody. We have a hot month of October. We've jumped in feet first, head first, sideways, however you want to say it. We have some pretty big interviews coming up here in the near future, and I'm so excited about it. There's a big buzz with the Can Crushers right now, and I can't wait to release some of these ones that we have in our back pocket. So, guys, head over to our Facebook page, head over to Instagram at CanCrusher69, shoot us some emails, and just give us some feedback of what you like or what you don't like. If you don't want to say a name or whatever, I won't dive into emails to find out who you are, but just tell us what we're doing right or what you really don't like. Because remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot. We'll see you Sunday with our predictions.